Toyota's spending millions of dollars to improve and expand its truck manufacturing plant in San Antonio. We're going to dive into that today, as well as a discovery in the middle of the Pacific Ocean could be benefiting the Japanese automakers massively in the era of electrification. We'll talk. And lastly, new car inventories are at a 4-year high. We're going to discuss what that means for the buyer on the new and used car market. Toyota trucks are in the spotlight today, and they have been seemingly for the past couple weeks, 3-4 weeks at this point. The recall in the twin turbo V6 and the Tundra. I made a couple of videos on how the Tacoma isn't selling that well, despite it being brand new in every single way, and it's just really expensive, even though it's being made down in Mexico. That has its own struggles right now due to suppliers not being able to keep their employees in Mexico. So the Tacoma, the Tundra, they're not in the best light right now, but we're going to talk about how this can maybe improve in some ways the Toyota trucks here in the United States. But we need to take a step back before we get into what's going on here. Remember a couple of weeks ago, we were discussing that Toyota is closing its Hino Motors plant in Arkansas, laying off 1,300 people. And at that Hino Motors plant, they built a few parts for the Sequoia and the Tundra, namely axles, for example. With the Arkansas plant winding down, we have this announcement. Coincidence? Absolutely not. This is going to pick up where the Arkansas plant is leaving off. Toyota Texas to expand and add more than 400 new jobs. I have been to Toyota Texas. When I was driving the new Tundra, Toyota offered us a small tour of the new pickup trucks assembly line and how they're doing the new F platform there, which was a big improvement and a jump in technology in a lot of ways. So I remember driving in through this road here, us getting dropped off by a shuttle bus here right at the entrance. We had a little class, and then we also shuttled around. I think it was around the back here to the back of the plant, which is pretty cool because all these adjacent buildings, a lot of them are suppliers for the pickup trucks on a site there. And so we drove around back and we saw the new Tundras being assembled back there. It was pretty cool. And it was actually my first tour of a Toyota plant. So they're dumping $531 million to boost the Toyota San Antonio plant's capabilities, adding more than 400 new high-quality jobs. What's interesting is that they're laying off 1,300 workers in Arkansas. But you got to remember, Hino is just kind of in limbo right now. They might be withdrawing out of the American market. I have no idea what Toyota plans on doing with their heavy-duty industrial Hino line, but doesn't look good for the future of Hino with this plant closing. So while 1,300 jobs are being lost in Arkansas, 400 are being added down in Texas. And this is a new on-site 500,000 square foot facility dedicated to drivetrain parts production. And don't be surprised if it's rear axles and things of that nature. Maybe even more. Maybe they're even adding more parts to be fabricated here at this plant. Last year, they made 181,000 Tundras and Sequoias combined there. They've invested almost $5 billion in San Antonio, Texas. So if you guys were hoping that this expansion would lead to the Tacoma being produced in the United States, no, that ship has sailed. The Tacoma will only be produced in Mexico for the foreseeable future at the Guanajuato plant and the Baja plant. It is what it is. They are at max capacity here essentially for the Tundra and the Sequoia in San Antonio, Texas, unless they somehow expand this plant. All right, we're going to move on. This one was pretty interesting to me. I love geography. So decades worth of EV battery metals found off of remote Japan island. And this is going to be beneficial not only for the Japanese automakers, but if you look at someone like Panasonic who needs these metals to produce their lithium-ion batteries, this is a huge discovery. Deep sea reserves of cobalt and nickel could be commercialized as early as 2026. This would include 75 years worth of Japan's cobalt consumption and around 11 years worth of nickel have been found near an isolated island in the country's exclusive economic zone. 230 million tons of manganese nodules on the seabed around Minami Torishima, located about 2,000 kilometers southeast of Tokyo. So here we are. We got Google Maps pulled up. Here's Tokyo. It's all the way out here. It's super, super isolated. This island, I did a little research. The history of it is all over the place, especially in the last 100, 200 years between the United States and Japan, in terms of who's operated the island or who's held claim. But this is a picture of it in 1987. This is a runway. Only small planes can land there. This is one of the tallest structures in the Pacific Islands, this big tower here. It's also the warmest average temperature for Japan. Any island, any place in Japan. I think it's 77 degrees Fahrenheit year-round is the average temperature. And so on this tiny island out in the middle of nowhere, they've found a big cache of minerals for battery electric vehicle batteries. These nodules are made of iron and manganese oxide and contain about 20% manganese and 1% cobalt and nickel. All three elements are used in batteries. These look like dying walnuts to me. Growing up in the Midwest, walnut trees are everywhere. They drop green and then they eventually rot and turn into these brown carcasses. They almost look also like rotted out limes or something like that. However, it's not as simple as them just being, oh yeah, we found treasure and it's ours. It's going to be easy to just make batteries out of these. No, check this out. These happen to be as deep as 5,700 meters. What is that, 15,000 feet deep? How in the world are you guys, well, Japan, how in the world are they going to be able to pick these off the seabed floor and just call it a day? That sounds insanely dangerous, insanely expensive, and not efficient way of getting these. But it's far more eco-friendly. They're literally just sitting there at the bottom of the seabed floor, apparently. It's just getting to them is the problem. All right, moving on. We're going to finish with new car inventory. Here in 2024, car shortage is officially over. We are at a 4-year high. I think it's been December of 2020 was the last time we saw inventory this high. And so far, it doesn't mean lower prices. We are still at $49,000 per vehicle on average. It's down just slightly from $50,300 of June 2023. Ivan Drury, Director of Insights at Edmunds.com, says you can find the right car that you want right now, unless it's like a Prius that's been on, like stop sale because of the recall, unless it's like a Grand Highlander that's also on stop sale, stuff like that. Those are out of like the norm. But for the most part, you can find the right car right now or truck. The problem is, are you going to find the right financing? Super high interest rates right now. It's really cooled off the new car market, and that's why the inventory is piling up. And it doesn't look like dealers yet are super thrilled to be dealing under MSRP, but that is going to be happening. I'm almost 100% positive as the year goes on. Interest rates aren't going anywhere anytime soon because inflation is still rampant out of control. They're saying because there's more new car inventory, there's going to be more new car sales, which means more trade-ins, increasing used car inventory and bringing prices down, especially in the used car market. May used car inventory increased 4% from April, lowering the average price by 7% to $28,000 from a year ago. Used EVs are seeing a 19% drop in prices compared to last year, but you're still probably better off leasing a new one than buying a used one. And since people's budgets are stretched right now, cars searches for under $30,000 are up 36% year over year. And here's a nice piece of advice. They say remembering the price of insurance is important here. New cars are going to cost more to insure. And annual vehicle insurance costs have risen 20% in May. And so people want a cost-effective vehicle, not only get a used vehicle, but the insurance on that used vehicle will cost less to insure than a new car. But I'm going to end it there. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed today's content, the expansion of Toyota down in Texas, the discovery of minerals for batteries on the seabed floor around one of the most isolated islands in the world. It seems to be big news, but is it going to amount to efficient extraction? Who knows? And the new car market, cars are piling up. I like how we have, this is seemingly an old picture, or they're just a bunch of used cars here, but look at this old Xterra. Nissan, bring back the Xterra. Totally off topic, but I think that would be helpful for Nissan in today's market. But thank you guys for watching. Have a great one and peace.